Well, welcome back to Sunday Live right here on SABC 1, and our question for tonight is, do you think our liberation heritage story has chosen to ignore some people who were instrumental in shaping our nation? Well, I'm joined in studio by executive producer Mandy, Jacobson, and archivist director Nhlanhla Mthethwa from the African Oral History Archive. Now, to share your views, go to our Facebook page, which is Sunday Live SABC 1 on Twitter. You can also tweet me at T_Mthethwa and do hashtag Sunday Live SA, hashtag Discovering My Heritage and Rainbow Makers. And you can always SMS us on 34065. Welcome to Sunday Live.
Thanks for having us.
I suppose my question to you both is, has, of course, our history chosen to just ignore or deliberately omit names from our heritage, people that have been instrumental in shaping our country?
Well, that's a very interesting question. But I think it's with everything else, you know. You can even base that on some of the musicians that we have in the country. I mean, I've been working on historical documentaries for many years, and the things that we discover and the people we've never heard of, you know, but they've contributed so much. Yeah. I think we tend to go for popular or populist people. You know, it's easy, they're easy to sell, you know, rather than from a Gogo in Niger or Tutuza, who played a pivotal role as well, you know, like just like Mandela has done as well.
Mandy, do you share the same sentiments?
I think history is an ongoing project. Our cultural heritage is an ongoing story, and it's always going to be an ongoing story. So, as you saw with Andrew Mlangeni's story, sometimes it's easier to go with the known stories, like the Rivonia treason trialists. And Nhlanhla was working on a story about the history of Orlando Pirates, where the very experience of the community was as important a story about the history of Orlando Pirates. So what we're trying to do is, it's a mammoth task, and we would never want to say at the African Oral History Archive, we're telling the story. What we're at the privilege to do is we've collected and collecting over 150 testimonies from the very players, so the people that lived the history, their stories need to be recorded. And then it's the challenge of how do you get those stories out there.
Nhlanhla mentioned that popular names are easier to sell. Has our heritage come to a point whereby it's about commercial gain? Who is more popular to sell? Whose content is rather more enriching or controversial to sell? Is it what it is all about?
Yeah, actually, that's true. I mean, if you've got a story about Mkhulu, who also went to Robben Island, and just to transgress, I did a project in 1997 where I went around the country interviewing or doing interviews with all the people who went to Robben Island just before the Mandela group. You know, people I've never heard of, you know. It was very enlightening for me, you know. I wish there can be a platform where we can share all those stories, you know, ordinary stories, you know. But the reason for that is if you take a story of that Mkhulu from the Eastern Cape and you try and go and get funding for a story to be told, the first question, who's he? You know, so you have to do a lot to convince the people that this story is also important, you know, in the bigger picture of things, you know.
It's very interesting. Let's continue our conversation after the break, where we continue, of course, with our discussion. Don't you